In today's arm knitting lesson, we're going to be learning the purl stitch, how to cast off, and also how to felt wool roving. I'm Stacy from Truly Majestic. Let's get started. You can see this blanket. This is an Andalusian stitch and it's made with knits and purls. Purls are the little bumps, and that's what we're going to be showing you today. So I'm going to be doing knitting and purling to give you an idea. So knit stitches your yarn goes from the back of the loop to the front, and you put your arm through the back of the loop when you pop it on. And a purl stitch goes from the front of the loop. You put your yarn in the front and you pull it back to the back and put it on your arm. So let's do another knit stitch. Your yarn goes from the back of the loop to the front, and then a purl stitch. Throw your yarn over the top, pull your yarn from front to back. Very easy, very simple to do. And once you understand how to do a knit stitch and a purl stitch, the possibilities of what you can create are really endless. Let's jump straight into casting off now. So you've completed your blanket and now it's time to cast off. This is very easy. You do it just by getting 2 stitches on your arm. So that's the first one. I slipped it and I'm going to knit the next one. And now I'm going to slip the back stitch over the front one and drop it off. So you knit 1 more stitch or purl or knit through the back loop, whatever your pattern calls for. 2 stitches on your arm, drop the back one over the top of the front one and off your arm. Now you continue doing this all the way till you get to the end of your blanket, and that will make a nice braided pattern on the end, the same as a chain cast on or a mock long tail cast on. So the beginning and the end of your blanket will look exactly the same. So you have 1 loop left now. You've done all that casting off. You just pass the tail of your yarn through this loop, snug it up nice and tight, and that's your blanket finished. It won't come unraveled. All you have to do is weave in the ends now. The way we weave in the ends is just simply take your tail of yarn and tuck it into the back of the blanket, into the stitches here and there. Keep tucking it in until you don't see the tail anymore and it's nicely disguised. Felting up wool roving is very important. It means your blankets won't shed. And the main problem with blankets made with wool roving is that they shed like mad. They fall apart, they pill, and they just look absolutely terrible and leave tufts of wool everywhere after a month of use or less. So this is a way to felt. If you have problem areas like I just showed you, you can just pull them off and stick them back onto the yarn. We'll deal with those in a little bit. And you run the entire length of wool roving through your hands to look for any problem areas. Wool felts by friction, so all of this running it through my hands is actually lightly felting it. We need to go through a few more processes to get it very well felted, but this is just to look out for those problem areas, stick them back onto the yarn, and then fix them later. So at the end I always give my wool a little twizzle because it just comes off so easy to just help it keep stuck together. So I'm going to be rolling this into a center pull ball, actually winding it into a center pull ball. Just grab the yarn in your hand and gently start winding it around your wrist, but you want to be gentle and make it a little bit loose or else you won't be able to pull your arm out of the center of the ball at the end. And in this process you can make sure you're really rubbing your hand against the wool, but not pulling too tight that you break it. And it does break very easily at this stage. It's so easy to break, so be very careful when you're doing this. When you get your ball all rolled up, at the end you need to pull your hand out gently and actually keep a hold of the yarn that you've wrapped around your hand. So you want the tail coming out, and this is the yarn you should be knitting with next. This is a problem area. I'm just going to smooth it back on. Actually, I have to break some of it and smooth it back onto the bulk of the roving. And to get it to stick really well, I'm just going to run my hand over it lots and lots of times, and that helps felt the wool and it helps the problem area stick tighter. So this is how you deal with the problem areas. It doesn't matter if the entire ball of wool roving is full of these areas. In the end, if you felt it well, you will not even see these bits. It's not a problem. It just takes more time to work out. So now I'm going to knit this. You can knit it any way you want. You can chain it, knit it into a blanket, knit stitch, purl stitch, whatever. You just need to knit it because, again, the yarn pulling out of the ball and the yarn pulling through each stitch also adds to the friction that it's getting to felt it up. And then at the end, we're going to unravel the entire ball and then do the same. Unravel it, knit it up again. Unravel it, knit it up again. This is just showing different ways you can knit it up. It doesn't matter. What we do want is the wool to felt, and when it does start felting well, you'll notice it gets stiffer and it doesn't have as much of a floppy drape to it. It actually holds its shape quite nicely, and it's not as big and puffy. It's shrinking down to a tighter felted yarn strand. Okay, so I'm knitting and unraveling it here, and then afterwards you would roll it into a center pull ball, do the same. At the end, after you've done this several times, you should be able to notice your yarn getting stiff. As you can see, the end of this is quite stiff. That's well felted, and that's what we want. However, the rest of the roving in my hand doesn't have much of a drape in it. There's no stiffness. This is still not felted enough. I have to do this much more. And I also have another YouTube video, if you check out my channel, how to felt wool roving for arm knitting yarn, and this one shows you a very fast way of arm knitting, of felting arm knitting yarn. Now, let me give you a hint for finding patterns. If you want to try something new and different, Pinterest is a great place to look. If you look for mini knitted patterns or mini crochet patterns, you'll find all sorts of things. However, in my membership area, I have already all over 300 patterns that you can use for arm knitting and arm crocheting. Some of them need to be resized, and I teach you how to resize them in the group. So if you're interested in that, have a look at my membership. It's well worth money. It's usually $37 a month. But because you're taking this course and you're new to things, if you use coupon code YES, Y-E-S, yes, that's just one word for the coupon code, then you get it for half price. It's a 1-year membership, and you can find the link under this video. Happy arm knitting from Truly Majestic. I can't wait to see you in the next lesson.